So we are live on YouTube as well, so we can formally start.
Okay.
Giresh sir, Anuradha ma'am.
Good afternoon, everyone. So I welcome you all to second day of International Symposium on Understanding the Corona Pandemic and its implications, organized by the Faculty of Applied Sciences and Biotechnology. The theme of the today's session is Immunity Booster Foods to Fight COVID-19. So this is the second day of this international symposium. We started this symposium 1 day back, which was inaugurated by Honorable Vice Chancellor Professor P.K. Khosla and Pro Vice Chancellor Professor Atul Khosla, and then two eminent speakers in this webinar yesterday. One of the speaker was Padam Shri Dr. Dinesh Singh, former Vice Chancellor Delhi University, and then the another speaker was Dr. Narendra Chirmule, who is the former R&D head of Bicon. So it was very excellent webinar, and besides this, it was very interactive session, rather I can say. So again, today we are expecting the same because we have two eminent speakers in the today's talk. One of the speaker is Dr. Yogesh Shukla, who is Director Healthcare M Hospitals, Sweden. And then we have another speaker, Dr. P.S. Panesar, who is Professor and Dean, Research and Consultancy, Slight Longowal, Punjab. And then we have another eminent speaker, Dr. SPS Khanuja, who is former director, CSIR, CMAP, Lucknow. And before we formally start with these lectures, I would like to, first of all, I welcome you all to this second day of the webinar. And request for Honorable Vice Chancellor to say a few words as a introductory remarks. Dr. Khosla, please. Sir, you are muted.
Can you unmute Dr. Khosla?
Pradeep?
I'm here. I think Dr. Khosla's connection is lost, I suppose, because so he's back.
No, he's
Just
back.
let me try to unmute him. So it's on and off. So he'll be connecting. Just give
Hello,
me.
am I audible? Hello,
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
You can hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay,
We can
fine.
hear you.
Dr. Yogesh Shukla from Sweden, Dr. Professor from Slide, and Dr. Khanuja from Lucknow, former director, medicinal aromatic plants, what I know it, and Radha, Dr. Dinesh, and dear students. We all know this seminar is being held in the backdrop of pandemic, COVID-19. The entire scenario has changed. It has created a havoc with the educational system, with the research system, but at the same time, this adverse situation has also created an opportunity. Opportunity in the form that because of the technology, that the people from the outside, from Sweden and from other places in India are also here with us, right, sitting from the hometowns. That is the wonder of these adverse conditions which are created by this dangerous COVID-19. So I always say that look at the positive side. And positive side, we can have the best of the education today. Because any Harvard professor can give you a lecture. Any Oxford professor can be available. I find that it is an opportunity for the Indians to utilize this human resource. If you look back, peek back at the Indian educational system, we were the leaders since 12th century. But then one gentleman, Mr. Bixtiar Ali Ahmad, a Turkish commander, destroyed or burnt the Indian university system then. And with that, India entered into a dark age for 650 years, till the Britishers established 3 universities, one in Bombay, Calcutta, and Madras. So we lost our knowledge. We lost our right for the Indian literature, Indian science, given in our scriptures, but we were taught by the Britishers, British English, and the European science. So whatever we are today, we are what we have been taught. This is a new opportunity when the world is looking towards us, towards this country, that India can again take the lead. It's not that whenever you are on the TV, Trump is always pampering the Indians and the Indian Prime Minister. There's also shown that the India has a robust system and which can face the challenges of time. Dr. Dinesh Singh, in his a mathematician by profession, just showed us the Indian death rate is going to be very small. Forget about the number of the people who are inflicted, but ultimately his analysis was that we all have the BCG vaccines, and because of that vaccine, it's quite likely that it will not be able to create havoc. This corona will not be able to create havoc in the Indian system. That is the belief. But at least sometime adverse situation, because we had in yesteryears all those things from our childhood. So we ensure that, and we are actually following it. The West left, they thought they're the masters of the world. They can do, and they can leave their priorities. But we are not. We are following it. We are sticking to it. That is our strength. So in the changing scenario, the immunity is very important. This is going to be a very important theme today. That which are the foods which can make us immune. Well, I was just talking to someone from abroad. Just still active. This is the Indian immune system. It is the immunity. It is our yogic science. I told him for the last 25 years, I'm doing meditation. I'm in transcendental meditation. My energy flows from that. I don't know what is inside my body, what about the major diseases, but I know that as long as I'm healthy, I'm doing the same thing that I was doing two decades back. I'm not saying as a pride or as a ego. I'm saying that let it be an example for others. One of the Swamis from my school to which I belong were telling me, Dr. Khosla, you are an ideal example for the householders on one hand and for the sannyasis on the other hand, that you are balanced. You do everything, still active and still leading life. After all, I don't know, I never cared whether my food is lean or not. But at least in our diet, if I have to ponder back, I know that fruits have been a regular feature. We take little of, I would say, the wheat or the carbohydrates, and also in the balance. For so many years. When I was married, I was used to eat 4 or 5 chapatis. Slowly, it has gone to 1.5 or even 1. So the things get in Indian system of its own. We have the rich diversity here in this country. We should know what is coming from which flower. Now is the time. We are lucky that we are the Himalayas with us. We are the large number of the herbal wealth with us. We are lucky there are large number of plants. We have to go to the foods of the yesteryears. We should shed away. जो व्रत में खाते हैं ना हमारे लोग उगले काटा ये वो कितने स्वाद होते हैं मुझे तो बड़ा मजा आता है जब मेरी बीवी व्रत रखती है मुझे वो उसकी पूरी मिलती हैं जब पकौड़े खाने को मिलते हैं the very foods which could bear even the famines. And but in turn, we need to now explore our religious sources. They say that 1,500 species of the food that were used in this country have been reduced to 4 or 5 today. This is also
Probably we have a loss of connection. So Dr. Dinesh, you can start actually.
So,
So he's
I think he's back.
His audio is still mute.
So should I go ahead?
Yeah, I think you should get started, sir. Delay.
So thank you, sir, for your introductory remarks. Now we move on to the invited lecture. First of all, I would like to invite Dr. R. Shukla. He is Director Healthcare, M Hospital, Sweden. So he'll be talking on COVID-19, a case study in medical scenario. Now I invite Dr. R. Shukla to start his lecture. Over to you, Dr. Shukla.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Okay, yeah. Hi. Hello, everyone. I pay my regards to the eminent panelists, and I thank Shalini University to give this opportunity to share my ideas. So, to start with, I am Dr. Yogesh Shukla. I am a cardiovascular surgeon by profession. I am also director at M Hospital. So what basically we do is, like, I'll just go about, first of all, everyone knows about coronavirus. I'm very sure all the viewers must be reading in papers, news, everywhere we have coronavirus. So I would just like to show the clinical picture of it and where, as in science and as advancement, we can play a big role in, to control this havoc which has affected our society. So as we know, this coronavirus, it belongs to an orthocoronavirus group of family, which has been known to humankind since long. This is the same family of virus that is SARS virus. So WHO has specifically named it as SARS-CoV-2. Now it is the second group of virus. It has been renamed 2019. So it belongs to the same family of virus SARS-CoV, which was affected the world in 2013, I think so, if I'm correct. So what is this virus? What are the clinical symptoms? I will just like to go to the clinical.
Dr. Shukla, you are muted. Can you unmute?
Okay, sorry, am I audible again?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So this belongs to the orthocoronavirus I was with here. So what are the challenges we are facing? The challenges all over the world because of this coronavirus infection is there's a finite number of medical infrastructure, especially in country like ours, country like India. We have fixed number of hospitals, fixed number of hospital beds, ventilators, doctors. From India, I belong from the city of Mumbai. So specifically, I'm going to present you with 3 cases which have come to my knowledge from my colleagues in Bombay. I would like to know. There was patient 1 named as Mr. Pathak. He was 74-year-old male. He presented with complaints of breathing difficulties. And by his local doctor, he was advised to go to a small nursing home in his area vicinity, where they suspect he had, with initial investigation, he was suspected to have a problem with his kidneys. His renal functions were impaired, and he had shortness of breath was there. His oxygen demand was low, so he was referred to a hospital, nearest government hospital, as they were not very affording money wise. Once reaching the hospital, as the pandemic is going on, they were said, we cannot treat you here. You have to go to a specific hospital at some other place in Bombay. They were sent to another government hospital, where, so this thing, what I'm narrating, it started from 8 in the morning. And by the time patient reached to the another government hospital, it was 8 in the evening. And that again, after reaching 8 in the evening, whoever the senior doctor was there in that government hospital had advised this patient to get a chest X-ray done and ECG done. Has his vitals were stabilized by the time. Eventually, the patient got admitted 3 o'clock in the night in the same hospital to an ICU, where he was taken care. And after that, next day he was diagnosed to have COVID, and then he was treated in a COVID ICU, and he passed away in next 24 hours. Again, there is a similar one more example of a female. Again, she, because of a shortage of beds, she was admitted into a local hospital, which were treating COVID patients. But again, there was lack of infrastructure in that hospital, and this patient also couldn't survive. So my whole purpose of narrating this to patients was like, where do we play a role as in form of technology? Like in M Hospital, what we are interested in is we are like the where there is scarcity of these resources in the country like India, we can screen the patient primitively by form of artificial intelligence, telemedicine, and app. So we were interested in putting forward an app wherein the patient can have a primary consultation with the physicians on phone through a video conferencing call. As the technology is advancing day to day, I think so we will have sensors which will be covered by the rest of the eminent panelists. So in the form of, we can have a live teleconsulting. So, and in the meantime, we will have the whole database of whatever available infrastructure in that particular area, in that particular geographical area. So with the help of the symptoms, we can, and with the help of artificial intelligence, we can draw up an algorithm by which we could guide the patient to the nearest and the best possible medical resources available in that particular geographical area. So it is like optimizing. It is called, I would call it as modern triage. Triage is a system I know everyone is sure, just for the viewers, is where in the cases of mass calamities, where we designate patient who will need urgent medical care, late medical care. So it is to prioritize the patient for optimizing the use of resources. So by this way of artificial intelligence and by way of artificial intelligence and this app, and we can put an effective use of whatever available infrastructure in the society. I think so about vaccine, like what, and today's scenario, like in Sweden right now, they are going the way of herd immunity. Like for viewers, herd immunity will be like when 60 to 70% of the population will get infected with the coronavirus, and that will help the stem the spread of the virus. This is what they have been trying in Sweden. In India, it has done well till now because of the lockdown and everything. The rate of infection has subsided, but still, from today's news, what I gather is it is increasing by day and day. And so, what is the outcome? It is a herd immunity, because even in India, if 1%, we say the mortality from the coronavirus is very less. But even if it is 1 to 2%, it is a big population of India. We are talking about 1 to 2%. So I think so. The technology has a very big role, and artificial intelligence. Like for viewers, I would like to tell you, like especially in the field of radiology and pathology, a doctor in his lifetime will see maybe say 10,000 X-rays, a lakh X-rays, 1 lakh X-rays. But with the artificial intelligence, we can, by computer, we can feed the entire data for years and years, which will be impossible for a doctor to, in his clinical practice, to see that X-ray. So an artificial intelligence is coming up in a very big way in a medicine. And I think so it is in very advanced stages in the field of radiology and pathology to help for the better treatment of the mankind. So M Hospital, what we are trying to do with M Hospital is we are trying to bring this interface of artificial intelligence, this cellular telecommunication, because today's with the mobile phone. So what our interest is to put the patient's healthcare needs in patient's hand by the simple use of mobile phone and artificial intelligence. Regarding the future, like as it has been already suggested, the talks are going on from the WHO itself. We will have this coronavirus for a very long time with us, and clinically also I feel the same. This virus is going to be endemic now in our societies. We'll have to live with this virus like we live with any other infection, maybe like malaria, dengue, or like any common flu virus which is already prevalent in our society. So this virus is going to stay for a long time. Again, another eminent panelist will be speaking about nutraceuticals and vaccines. Vaccines is already spoken about. Regarding vaccines, as a doctor, I'm not very sure how much, because this family of virus is very notorious for, like changing its outer shell wall, and to have a vaccine which will be 100% successful. um, I pray that this vaccine trials become successful. There is solidarity trial which is going on already in the all over the world. I pray this the scientists all over the world, they are working very hard to come up with vaccine. They eventually come up so that our society starts to function the way it was. So this is this, like what I would like to emphasize is, um, the future is with the artificial intelligence. And like problem in today in India, like suppose a patient gets sick, he has to go to a GP whose knowledge of medicine is questionable. Most of them are not all. I cannot say for the older doctors. There are very good GPs also, but it's like in the foreign societies where you have properly trained GPs. We don't have that system in India. That's a very unfortunate thing. So there are many doctors who are not qualified and they're practicing. That is one concern which we have. So we'll need to address that. So with M Hospital, we tend to address all these issues, like to provide the best and international standard. Like what we'll have is a panel of doctors who will be qualified nationally as well as internationally, and we will club the whole system. Like it will be like as good as booking an hotel room in your when you go to some tourist place, you book a hotel, so you get all the choices and you select whatever suits you the best. Similarly, what our intention is, especially we, and now that it is the need of the hour, I can say, because today we have COVID. Down the lane, another few years, we don't know what again can affect us. So I hopefully by the time we'll have a very good interface where all the good things about artificial intelligence, telecommunication, and all the recent developments are present and available to each and every person on the planet, where he can just by way of his mobile phone will be able to take care of his needs. That's all I need to say. I just hope we find some good vaccines and nutraceuticals, if something can come up which can really help to stem this flow of virus. Thank you everyone for patiently hearing me. If any questions, I would like to answer them.
Thank you, Dr. Yogesh, for this informative lecture on COVID from medical point of view. So we'll be taking up all the questions at the end of the panel discussion or during the panel discussion.
Okay.
So I request you to stay back for the panel discussion.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So next we have Dr. Paramjit Singh Panesar. Sir, can you switch on your mic? Panesar, sir?
Yes.
Yes. So we have another speaker, Dr. Paramjit Singh Panesar. So before he starts, let me introduce Dr. Paramjit Singh Panesar. So Dr. Paramjit Panesar is Professor and Dean, Research and Consultancy at SLIT Longowal, Punjab. He was the former Vice President of AFSTI, Association of Food Science Technologists of India. And then he is also recipient of Boys Cast DST Government of India So he has received advanced trainings from International Center for Genetic Engineering and Biotechnology, Italy, and Chem Biotech Labs, University of Birmingham, UK. Panesar was also awarded, I think. So Dr. Panesar was also awarded Young Scientist Fellowship by Punjab State Council for Science and Technology and Fellow Award 2018 by Biotech Research Society of India. And Dr. Panesar has successfully completed 7 research projects funded by DBT, CSIR, MHRD, ICT, etc. And he has published more than 135 international, national scientific papers and 50 review books, along with 32 chapters and 7 edited books. Moreover, his research is focused in the area of food biotechnology, especially value addition of foods, food products, food fermentation, food enzymes, prebiotics, biopigments, biodegradable films, and green extraction of bioactives. So we are very fortunate to have Dr. Panesar with us. So you'll be talking on immunity booster foods. So I invite Dr. Paramjit Singh Panesar to start with this lecture.
Yeah,
Over
thank
to
you,
you, sir.
Dr. Dinesh, for the introduction. I'm also thank Shubhi University for sharing my views. My lecture, as Dr. Dinesh has already just introduced, that is the food as the immunity booster. So I'm just sharing the slides and some of the my views as well on this topic, because food is the important component of our system, and sometimes we are afraid of what we are eating and what we should eat. So that is the question between that. So just a brief intro about all we know, rather, just to tone the mood in that. So what is the immunity? Is the just naturally the defense system what we have, our body have against the foreign pathogens. Then naturally, why we need the defense? Basically, there are different tiny creatures are there in the environment that can infect our body, as well as sometimes they attack our body. Rather. There are bacteria there, viruses, and we know you're talking about the COVID now. So number of other viruses as well, toxins, parasites, germs. I'm not going into detail of that. Immunity, you know, active, passive immunity, how that is developed, how the innate immunity is there, how acquired immunity is there. So most of the audience must be named. And why we need to improve the immunity, that is another idea. So everybody knows I should be the sound, I should be healthy, and I should be doing well in my health as well as in wealth, basically. So that is the main motive of every system. Now from here, my main presentation starts. So there are different ways why we can boost our immunity. So these are some of the main there we why the ways by which we can boost our immunity. First is the balanced diet. All of we know that is what is the importance of balanced diet, and we have been taught during the school days as well what is the concept of the balanced diet. But know each and everything, but certainly sometimes we cheat ourselves and we do not follow that. That is the main issue. So the second one, that is we should have the enough sun. Why? We know the basic biochemical pathways which are governed by sun, and we need to have vitamin D as well. So vitamin D, there is hardly any food from where we can get this vitamin D, although there are some fish from where that can, or there are some fortified foods as well. What as such we are not getting the vitamin D. So that is another issue we want to see. That is we should have the enough sunlight. That vitamin D deficiency nowadays, it is affecting. It is just affecting many persons. A major portion of the Asian, they are under this problem, and even there are some projects as well from the DBT, that is how we can strengthen this. And other area, we should have the good sleep. We know that is sometimes there are hormonal disturbances are there if we are not getting the sleep. Then we should limit the sugar intake. All we know about that, and we should avoid acidic foods as well as alcohol because they do problem in our intestine. And once intestine is disturbed, so there are many diseases which we get from that. Aside that, there is the importance of yoga. We know, we Indians, we know that yoga came from the India. So we have to do this exercise as well as yoga daily because we have to strengthen our immunity. We have to strengthen our lung capacity as well, especially in days of this COVID also. We should have some time for us. That is, we spare some time for ourselves so that we can have some of the yoga time or the exercise time as well. So then we should have strengthen some of our food. That is, we should have fermented foods, eat more fermented foods. There are different groups are there, fermented food we were talking of. The dairy foods are there, other foods are there, from where we can get some benefits, and how we get these benefits we will discuss later on. And lastly, we should hydrate. We should have enough water because sometimes this is also we skip sometimes. That is, we are not taking in water, and especially when we take the water, then it gives number of benefits to the body, and it sometimes helps in digestion. Sometimes it helps in the proper functioning of heart and kidney as well. So there are the different ways by which we can boost our immunity. And my topic, as well as concerned, is I will be more concentrated on the foods basically. So as far as the immunity is concerned, there is a major role of our GI tract. I sometimes in my lectures I call this your stomach as the fermenter, that is bioreactor. Many of the biochemical reactions are going on in the stomach. Many types of food processing factories are there, energy is produced. Many types of microflora there. So it plays a very important role as far as one's health is concerned. And even famous Greek physician Hippocrates said, all diseases begin in gut. That was his statement. That is, gut is so much important organ of our body. So it is very important to maintain healthy GI tract by consuming the nutrient rich diets. Again, I would also like to quote this quote by Hippocrates. That is, let food be thy medicine and medicine by thy food. He emphasized the importance of nutrition to prevent or cure the diseases. We should eat, we should select proper foods, and we should take those good foods. Otherwise, if we are not selecting our proper foods, I mean, we are not having the healthy diets, then we may have to take the medicines later on. So nutrients are very important when we are selecting the foods. This type of foods we should select. So this is a very important statement that was given a long back, that is 400 BC by Hippocrates. Now again, when we say food and immunity, they are directly linked. Again, I like to put one statement by French author, that's Anthilem. He said, tell me what you eat and I will tell you what you are. So how this food affects, it was emphasized a long time back, although we have forgotten that is what we should eat, and we have the choices, but we don't know where to go, and we sometimes are lured by the junk foods as well. So why I'm not going to detail because of time limitations. So nutrients have specific roles in development and maintenance of our immune system. So that is my statement about this slide. So what are the different nutrients which play important role in improving the immunity? There is a long list again. What I will emphasize just from the students' viewpoint, that is when we are talking about the vitamins have very specific role. We all know, we study from our school times. But vitamin A, C and E, they play very, very important role when we're talking of the immunity. How they play the role, we have studied, but we have to just brush our knowledge. That is how we are affected by this vitamins. So these are important vitamins our food should contain, and vitamin B6, B9, B12 also have a very, very important role. Then beside the vitamins, we should also have the minerals in our foods. And when we're talking about the minerals, they have very, very important role, although we are taking in the micrograms. What they play very important role in the form of sometimes cofactors in some of the metabolic enzymes. So when we're talking about the minerals, this zinc, iron, selenium, and copper, they are very, very important for the immunity points. Besides this, the food should also contain antioxidants. That is because antioxidant, they prevent or slow damage to the cells caused by the free radicals. Free radical eradication, we call it. Antioxidants are important in that. Then tree fibers, naturally we know that. Then omega-3 fatty acids, they're very, very important because they reduce the risk of the blood pressure, low triglycerides, and reduce cardiac diseases as well. So these are the important nutrients which have very, very important role. Although we have studied that is it should contain protein, it should contain carbohydrate, it should contain fat. But beside this, there are some of the other nutrients we should focus on that. Then if we are talking of what food groups which can boost our immunity, there are different food products are there in every group. When we're talking of the food technology, we divide it into the fruit and vegetables. Then cereal technology, here I have written just whole grains and pseudo cereals, the dairy products. And then herbs and spices. India is a rich source of herbs and spices, and especially Himachal, where Shuli located. There are many herbs and spices, medicine plants are there. Then nuts and oil seeds, and then beverages. I will be talking about that. Then when we were talking of this fruits and vegetables, there is a long list of fruits and vegetables are there which are have a number of nutrients which can help to boost the immunity. And nowadays, you must be knowing that is every time we listen from the news channels and newspapers that we should have vitamin C. Again, so what is the rich source of vitamin C? We all know that is oranges are there, grapes are there, then lime, lemon. In northern India, kinnu is there. We call it kinnu mandarin. Then tangerine, mousami. So they increase the production of white blood cells, then they can prevent the cold infections as well. So it is a rich source of naturally. I told you that is ascorbic acid, the thiamine, niacin. Beside this, some mineral like calcium and iron is there, and polyphenols. I am talking of just written the polyphenols, but polyphenols I just like to tell there that they are the main antioxidants our body has. So they are very, very important. So just I will give you an overview of what different fruits and vegetables, just 7 to 8 fruit and veg are focusing on that. Kiwi we all know, that is a source of ascorbic acid and tocopherols, vitamin E, then potassium it has, and it is effective against the developing this viral immunity, basically viral diseases. So then again, apple, it is always said that is an apple a day, keep a doctor away. So it is also a resource of ascorbic acid. Then calcium is there, polyphenols are there. So it is helpful because it has lots of dietary fibers in that. So number of health benefits are there when we are talking about apple. Then papaya. Again, you will be surprised that is again and again vitamins are there. But I will be only focusing on those components that special fruit has. When we are talking about papaya, it is a rich source of beta carotene. And then it has an enzyme which we call the papain. Papain is a very digestive enzyme, that is, it helps in digestion. So it can help you to boost the immune system, lowering blood cholesterol level, and then sugar levels when we're talking about the papaya. Then pomegranate, anar we call, and we know its importance. But why it is important? Because it is also very source of ascorbic acid, and it has potassium. So it can improve the cardiovascular system. Then another group I would like to focus is berries. In berries, blueberries and strawberries are very, very important. They are rich source of this vitamin C, then tocopherols and manganese minerals there. And they have one important polyphenol, that is resveratrol, that is very helpful to the herd. So this is the importance of when we're talking of berries. Then tomatoes we eat every day. What we may or may not be knowing, it has a very particular component called lycopene. Nowadays, even tablets or capsules are there. Doctors sometimes prescribe it that we should take the lycopene. Lycopene is a powerful antioxidant, so it is very, very helpful. Beside this, it is a source of vitamins and minerals. Then garlic, we know, everybody know that is garlic is very powerful antiviral this food item. So it contains minerals, selenium and manganese. So it has a polyphenol component, which is particularly allicin, we call it. So it has a immune enhancement properties and cholesterol lowering benefits of that. Then broccoli sometimes we call it a superfood as well, because it contains vitamin K and vitamin C, then minerals, potassiums, and other manganese are there in that, and it helps to boost eyesight as well, and it is also having the antioxidant properties. Then there are other bell peppers. Bell pepper, it has also a ascorbic acid as well as this retinol. Then ginger, we all know, and what it contains a particular polyphenol, the gingerols and paradols. These are very, very important antioxidants. And beside it has potassium, manganese, and magnesium. And it is also very effective against the nausea, morning sickness, muscle pain, soreness, as well as it is antiviral as well. The spinach, it contains vitamin K, vitamin C, then tocopherol, then potassium, and it also contains some surprising, that is omega-3 fatty acids as well. So it is a very, helpful to keep the skin here and feels healthy. So and lastly, I was talking of this carrot. Carrot, we all know that is a rich source of vitamin A, that is retinol, we call it. And beside that, it also contains vitamin K1 and potassium as well. And it has also lutein. This is also very important. This antioxidant we are talking about. Now, I'm talking of now the whole grains and pseudo cereals. This term pseudo cereals may be new to you, because there are many compounds, cereals which are whole grain, but there are other non-grasses as well, which are similar to cereals, but though they are not cereal. It does not contain gluten. They are pseudo cereals, and they are very good source of the fiber. Whereas whole grain like wheat, they may contain gluten. Sometimes we have the problem of the gluten allergy as well. So just summarize slide of this what we call whole grains. In this oats, they are very, very important. Barley, millets, rye, corn, and even sometimes we have this multigrain atta concept is there now, because we always prefer multigrain atta as compared to the other this normal atta, because it has rich source of dietary fibers, then iron, magnesium, thiamine, and it can boost immune system. It can prevent diabetes. It can lower the cholesterol levels as well. So then when we are talking of the pseudo cereals, in this the important community, this important and this crops are, that is buckwheats are there, amaranth, quinoa, and wheat grass is there. It is rich in oxidants. It can boost the immune system. Even pseudo cereals sometimes they are preferred as well during the weight loss as well. And it has a long list of vitamins and minerals, and it is a resource of dietary fiber. Then dairy products. In dairy products, milk we all know. So I am not talking of that. Milk we know that is a very balanced food. Then beside this, we have number of other choices like cheese is there. It could prevent osteoporosis. Why dairy products are important commodity? Because they are sometimes they have long list of the fermented products, and fermented products, they contain different type of the microorganisms, and these are very useful microorganisms when we are talking of. and we just classify under the lab, that is a lactobacillus group. And lactobacillus group is a very, very important group when we're talking of the health benefits. So it is a very useful activity when we're talking of fermented dairy products. So cheese, it also contains some conjugated linoleic acid, we call it the CLA. Then yogurts we eat, and in the yogurts there are a number of products are there which are added with the probiotic organisms. So it contains lactobacillus acidophilus, the streptococcus, the thermophilus, then lactobacillus casei, bifidus. It can boost the immunity. Then when we're talking of what are the probiotics, again from the students' viewpoint, then we call it a probiotics, that is for life. They are the living organisms which exert health benefits beyond the basic nutrition we are talking of. And the important organism under this category are the lactobacillus and bifidobacteriums. Then there are a number of health benefits associated with the probiotic foods, because it is an important upcoming products which are coming in the market, and is a long market is there. Potential effects are there in the European, American, as well as in India as well. So they are useful in elimination of the lactose intolerance. They have the antidiarrheal effects. They have immunomodulatory effects, antidiabetic, anticarcinogenic, hypocholesteremic, and hypertensive. So actually, sometimes we have to select the organism which have that particular effect. It is not that is one organism can impart you all the 6-7 benefits, but we have to select the organisms and select the product that is which is there. If we are talking of this world market of this probiotics, there are number of products are there. Danone is a company which is making a number of products. Besides Danone, there are other companies as well. In India also, Amul has launched their cream with the probiotics organisms. And then if we are talking of other product which is now in the Indian market, is Yakult. You must have seen on the supermarkets, and people are oftenly purchase this. Yakult is now available. And when we are talking of foreign country, there is another product, Actimel, is also very particular because in UK I was there for 1 year. So Actimel is very popular over there as a probiotic product. So when we're talking of herbs and spices, there is a again long list. Because of the time consideration, I am just skipping some of the slides because you may get bored. That is, there's a long number of slides are there. But I have to emphasize some of the these herbs and spices basically. Although there is another lecture I have heard that is there on the medicinal plants. But amla is a very popular and rich source of the vitamin C. It helps in boost the immunity. It is rich source of antioxidants, and then it is also a source of calcium and iron. So it is a very important product when we're talking of herbs, Indian herbs. Then tulsi, and that is we know the importance of tulsi. So I am not emphasizing that, but just now the emphasizing that it is also containing the ascorbic acid and the retinol and zinc. It is a very important component I am talking of from the immunity viewpoint. That zinc is there in case of the tulsi, and it is a strong immunity booster. Then turmeric, we know it is a wonder food, sometimes call it. Turmeric has a very important component, what we call a polyphenol, that is curcumin. Curcumin has a very health beneficial property. It is able to combat with the viral infections, anti-inflammatory properties it has. So it has the calcium, magnesium, potassium, iron. So different minerals are there. So turmeric, what we say the haldi is a very important food, and haldi is added in the milk products, and haldi doodh that is very popular when we're talking of internal inflammation is there, and it is commonly in India. It is being used as a popular drink when we're talking of to have some immunity. Then black pepper is there. In black pepper, it is also have many antioxidants, polyphenols are there. So which are very important from your lowering the cholesterol properties, then blood sugar level, and then they also have some of the anti-inflammatory properties in this pepper. So when another group I'm talking of is nuts and oil seeds. this is also very important group. In this flax seeds, they are very, very important. Flax seeds, why I am calling this important? Because it is rich source of omega-3 fatty acids. Then omega-3 fatty acid, I have told you that is very, very important in cholesterol lowering properties, as well as it can prevent you from the cardiac diseases as well. So it is also a rich source of lignans. So this is sometimes used in Indian as a and for preparing the pinnies and other things. So then another this new food, it may be new to you, is chia seeds. What in gym it is always said that is we should eat it because it is a high in fiber as well, and it is a high in omega-3 fatty acids, and it is a rich that is a resource of the copper and selenium. So it is always tried to have the chia seeds because it is also a rich source of the proteins. So that is also the important component of all nuts and all seeds. Then almonds are there, badam we would call it, because we know the importance of that is badams, but they are rich source of the tocopherols, and they are also high in the antioxidants. It has the lower cholesterol levels, and it is also a good source of the omega-3 fatty acids. Then walnuts, they are also a very good source of MUFA and PUFA, that is monounsaturated fatty acids and polyunsaturated fatty acids. Then omega-3 fatty acids, and excellent sources of the different type of the vitamins and minerals, and they can also be helpful in decreasing your cardiac diseases as well. So beverages, this is the last the group which I was focusing on, green tea. It is being nowadays popular in India as well. That is why we prefer the green tea. It is a rich source of the antioxidants. And besides antioxidants, it has potassium, calcium, phosphorus, and magnesium. And it can also help to boost the brain functions. It may also help to protect your brain, your liver. So besides, the companies also claim that it can help to lose the weight as well. So another is kombucha, that is a probiotic drink, probiotic green tea, something call it. So it contains antioxidants, and it has a polyphenols like epicatechins, epilactocatechins. So and even minerals like manganese, iron, and nickel are there in this tea. Then another last this beverage I'm talking of the ginseng tea. It is a very popular, and it is helpful in prevention of viral infections because it contains a polyphenol that is rare, that is ginsenosides. That is a polyphenol which is present in this ginseng tea. So these are the different food products which are available in the market, and which have the different type of the vitamins, minerals, and polyphenols. What we have a long choice, and this slide, what I'm focusing on that to stay active, what should our plate should contain, what our food plate should contain, and how to choose from this long selection. That is how to choose. That is the criteria. That is, we should use obviously healthy oils like olive and canola oil for cooking. Although I'm not just marketing any type of the oil just for ethical sake. That is, every oil has its own properties, but we should use healthy oils. We should avoid the trans fats, and we should read the levels. If it contains trans fat, we should not use that. We should add more veggies, green veggies. We should add to our plate. Then we should add plenty of fruits of all colors. Why I'm talking of all colors? Because the colors, they are related with the carotenoids, and carotenoids are very, very important, and they play a very important role because they are some antioxidant properties. Then we should hydrate ourselves. We should drink milk, tea, coffee, whatever we have the choice, and what we should limit the sugar. I'm not saying that is if we are taking the tea that it should every time should be flooded with the sugar, but we should have the liquid but without sugar. Then would be preferably better for the health. Then we should choose the whole grains for our food materials, and we should avoid the refined flour. Basically, white rice, white bread, we should just avoid it. We should basically prefer the whole grains. Even we can whole grain on this flour as well. And we should choose the healthy proteins. We should choose healthy proteins. That is, there are a number of vegetarian sources are there, and I have not kept in my slides the slides related to this non-vegetarian, this meat and wheat products, just to avoid, because this is the sometimes we are afraid of some of the infections. What fish is a rich source of oil, cod liver oil, and even we can have soybeans, we can have cheese, and so these are the source of, even groundnut contains good source of the protein as well. So this is our healthy plate when we're talking of. And which one would you choose? This slide is for you. That is where you want to go, what type of nutrients you want. Choice is with you. So you can see that is where we should go if we want to maintain our healthy, diet and healthy lifestyle and stay active. So overall, I conclude this lecture that is food is very, very important community. But if we have the choice, we should select the healthy food. We should choose our wise when we are selecting our food material, because it is would be directly or indirectly affecting your immunity. Vitamins, minerals, phytochemicals, and what we call them antioxidants are the major components that will work together to protect your healthy cells. And antioxidants are very, very important to see the free radicals, to combat with the free radicals and the damage from them. And essentially, we should have the always eat a rainbow of the foods. Why we call it a rainbow of foods? Because we will have a different type of the nutrients. If we are sticking to one type of food, we may have one nutrient in excess that we should also avoid. I'm not saying that is if we are after the vitamin C, we should always that daily we should take vitamin C. Even I am talking of one component, particularly selenium. Selenium has, if we are overdoses of selenium, they have some harmful effects as well. So here, there are some doses levels. We should have mixture of foods, and we should not stick to one food. And even sometimes say that we should not stick to the one type of the oil as well. So that is my just message to all listeners. So all are educated, all are well aware of, because now we have the internet sources, we have the Google sources, we have the Google Baba Visuals. We can see what we are eating. So only thing is we should see what the nutrients your food contains. That is very, very important. Then we can naturally enhance our immunity properly. So thank you for listening. And from my side, stay safe and stay home, because we are suffering from this pandemic, as well as we have the challenging time we have. So thank you very much, and thanks for the listening.
Thank you, Dr. Sir, for this informative lecture. You have given a detailed elaboration that how different types of the food items, they can be used as a immunity booster items. So we have a lot of questions or queries from the participants. So those things we'll be discussing in the panel discussion. So I request you to stay with us for the panel discussion. Once again, thank you for this informative lecture.
Okay, thank you.
Next, we have with us Dr. SPS Khanuja for the last invited lectures. So before I invite Dr. Sumanpreet, let me introduce him. Dr. SPS Khanuja is the former director, CSIR, Institute of Aromatics and Medicinal Plants, CMAP, Lucknow. He is presently the founder and chairman of Flora Fauna Science Foundation, Lucknow. He is also founder and mentors at Skies India, functioning as bioagriculture platform for enabling entrepreneurs through innovation incubator. He is an elected fellow of National Academy of Science, National Academy of Agriculture Science. He is recipient of several prestigious awards from CSIR in the life sciences and CSIR award for rural development for innovative biovillage strategy in medicinal and aromatic crops, from Vivis award in bioscience and technology, Nina Saxena excellence in technology from IIT Kharagpur, then FICCI award in 2004-5 for rural development, and then IDMA patent award in pharmaceutical biotechnology 2004, and IBA 2000 award for agriculture biotechnology. Besides this, he has served as a director, mentor to biotech and nutraceutical industries like Avastagen, Bangalore, Mayor Biotech, Haryana, NutraHelix Biotech, Mumbai, Do You Even Gym, and Pro in New Delhi, Institute of Corporate and Industrial Research, Lucknow, Better Delhi Foods, New Delhi, NutriPalent Food, Bangalore, and he is presently member of number of research advisory councils and specifically the Research Advisory Council of NRC on Plant Biotechnology, ICR, since 2017, and advisor in the Board of Agro Incubator at IDEA at ICR NARM since July 2018. He is also expert committee member NTPC since June 2018. Recently, he has been nominated as expert member in the Global Executive Advisory Board of Expert Nutraceutical Advocacy Council to guide and advise on strategies for nutraceutical sector growth. He combines in him a rare blend of conventional and modern biology with core expertise in agriculture, plant genetics, molecular biology, and biotechnology, and has translated his work of R&D into 50 international technology and product patents with more than 170 peer-reviewed research publications. So he's really a distinguished person. So I would like to also thank Dr. Khanuja for accepting our request, for being a distinguished professor of Shulin University. We really feel proud to have you in our Shulini family. So with these words, once again, I thank you, Dr. Suman Preet Khanuja, and I invite you to start your lecture. And he'll be talking on plants, the reservoir of metabolites as phytoceuticals, useful in preventive healthcare, some promising leads for immunity enhancing functional food. Over to you, Dr. Khanuja.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Dinesh. Must thank the Vice Chancellor, Dr. Khosla, and the university for inviting me to interact with the participants of this international symposium. I also thank university for giving me an opportunity to be with them on a long term as they asked as a distinguished professor in the university. I'll be happy to do that. My love in profession goes into two categories. One is farmers and other is students. And therefore it totally fits into what I want to do with my time. I must also say that when Dr. Dinesh shared with me the titles of the talks, I saw Dr. Paramjit's talk, and therefore I brought some changes in my talk. I saw an overlap between what we would be doing. I gave it a tilt towards what could be done in research for these plants. Many of those plants you will see in my slides also, which Dr. Paramjit has already presented. And in fact, it is helpful for me that I will be able to avoid introductory part for those plants because he has so well explained the utility and the possibility of those in use as say functional foods. So I chose the title plants as the reservoir of metabolites. As you know that that's what really makes meaning when we say plants are the biggest resource of our food. But when I go into plants, I cannot avoid going into Dr. Norman Borlaug, who is the person behind the Green Revolution and understanding the plants the best way. In a way, he has been my mentor. When I was doing my master's, he came to our field. I was working on wheat. And at that time, I decided that I will continue to do research and bring it to the society. So I'm not able to forget a statement that he gave, but I derived from his words into the words that everyone would understand. And that is, plants do not speak, they just whisper. And that means if they whisper, you have to be very close to the plants to understand them. He had said that from the point of view of wheat and rice, but then I could understand beyond that and came into medicinal and aromatic plants and later the nutraceutical plants. And what is that language that plants speak or whisper is important for us. And that comes because of the reason that the plants, they are anchored in a particular niche and therefore cannot move, and therefore to respond, to defend, to interact, to coexist, and not running away from the situation. They need some armory. See, when we call ourselves as the most capable because of our mobility, actually we are escaping the situation in adversity. Even now you are seeing in lockdown, we have escaped from outside and are in our houses. But plants remain there wherever they are. They take every adversity on their stride, and therefore they produce certain things which become medicinal for us, food for us, and many, many aids for us because of this state. And that armory is what is plants whisper, or what I would like to call as phytoceuticals or pharma phytoceuticals, which are produced as secondary metabolites in them, like alkaloids, terpenoids, flavonoids, glycosides, saponins, and so on. And we as humans, as always, being the most selfish part of both the kingdoms, we start exploiting these organisms for our benefit, and we start breeding some for alkaloids, some for terpenoids, and so on. And we say this is good for brain, this is good for gut, and so on. And this is because they possess a unique character. That is, in addition to primary metabolism that we have, we also have. They have secondary metabolism. What you are seeing here in gray boxes is all secondary metabolites, which we do not have capability to produce. And these secondary metabolites, they accumulate and we harvest or extract and utilize as medicine, and we start calling plants as medicinal plants. And because of that, what they produce, we can call them as, rather than pharmaceuticals, phytoceuticals. And in fact, in slang, we sometimes call alkaloids as the actual plant actives. No, it is the terpenoids which contribute the maximum, followed by glycosides, and then come the alkaloids. They are the third most significant category. And then there are combinations of them. And these combinations give you phytoceuticals, aromaceuticals, pharmaceuticals, nutraceuticals, functional foods, and so on. To just tell you about the metabolome of the plant that really creates such a huge diversity in the plant kingdom, if I go by the simplest molecule of isoprene, which is 5-carbon moiety, 2 5-carbon moieties, that is 2 isoprenes will make 1 monoterpene, that is C10. And then C10 can dimerize and give you diterpene C20, or it could give you triterpenoids, that is C30, or in between mono and di, it could be sesquiterpene C15. Just coincidentally, I would like to refer that C15 sesquiterpene, one of the molecules is artemisinin, which is used against malaria. When people are looking at chloroquine, people now are also trying to see, can we modify artemisinin into use against viral situation? And then triterpenoids, tetraterpenoids, and so on. But if you see on the right side, the families of these plants, you will say that it breaks the barriers or the dogma of classical botanical taxonomy, and it brings in another taxonomy, which we could call as chemical taxonomy. And that is the signature of the plant. And that is the whisper that we have to understand. If we understand that, then we can really engineer these plants for various functions. Another thing that we many times refer to, are we a developed nation or we are a developing nation? And in one way, I can say that we are developed. This is by CII and McKinsey in something like 2008, this report was published. And this is that we are as good in lifestyle diseases as any developed nation. And therefore we are developed, rather more than them. And what are these developing nation or lifestyle disorders? These can be nervine, this could be obesity, diabetes, even tonic requirement, diabetes, cholesterol, and so on. All these, you must have seen that in Indian population is increasing at an increasing rate. And if that is so, then this also brings an opportunity. And the opportunity is that there could be drug therapeutics, which could be in a $1 billion category. It works only in billions, and the plans to reach trillions. And these are inflammation, cardiovascular, or hormonal, metabolic, endocrinology related, anti-infectives. Now, after this corona, this will catch much more. Oncology, that is cancer related, neurological, and pain. Pain is a expression of so many things, and could be into any of these categories. So what we have to understand is that natural products, flora and fauna, and particularly flora, they show the way. Now, preventive healthcare, in my opinion, is going to be the most viable long-term strategy, not only against COVID, but also beyond COVID. Coronavirus is not something which was not there, it was there, but tomorrow there could be situations like prions, which are only protein particles, but infectious and also perpetuable, could be another problem for us, and so on. So we have to think proactively that beyond corona what? And if that is so, then we have to also think that how are we going to overcome those problems? And the issues that we must look at is, one is immunity enhancement, which Dr. Panesar from the angle of the foods has already addressed and even explained what immunity means and how our gut health and system can really take care of that. Comorbidity is, as you must have been hearing daily on TV channels, is another issue. And stress causes everything to lose, even immunity is lost. Metabolic status, are we metabolically efficient? Age, now age related metabolism and stresses are another thing that are happening. And then there can be many undefined factors. So that is how we will have to address this natural product use in case of the scenario that COVID has created, and in future the viruses and prions and the mycoplasmas might create. Can we think from these flora, the plant sourcing? So first one I would like to go into is nervine tonics, because right from stress to development, nervine health is very, very important. And these are the plants which produce secondary metabolites that are good for your nervous system. In some other platform, I'll be happy to explain to you how do they work and what are these, but I have just listed here so that you could get a rough idea that what could be the nervine tonics. Like Vidania is ashwagandha, asparagus, you must be knowing shatavar, and Centella asiatica, it's also called Brahmi by some people, but otherwise it is Mandukparni, or Bacopa is real Brahmi. These plants produce those molecules. Now I come to another situation, and that is obesity. Now, obesity is not a single disease. It is a cause of many, many diseases. As you are seeing here in this present slide, it leads to high blood pressure. It can lead to diabetes, abnormal blood fats, coronary artery disease, stroke, osteoarthritis, sleep problems, cancer, and so on. So obesity has to be looked at, a thing to be addressed, whatever ailments we might be facing. And there are simple solutions. Like, you know, red apple, just now Dr. Panesar also talked about it. But Garcinia, that produces hydroxycitric acid, is real good thing. That is called kokum also in our system. And Garcinia can really take care of the cholesterol quality of our blood. And then you have comifora, that is called gugul, which is a proven in Ayurvedic system, proven thing to take care of the weight management. And let me share with you that allium or garlic is the largest selling herb in the world. And mostly it is utilized in raw form. And, I like to share with you one of my experiences at Frankfurt airport, that when I was moving around, I had to wait for another flight. I saw, I felt the smell of garlic. So I thought it might be coming from something like sausages or salami or something like that. But no, it was not there. It was coming from the people. And that those people were having in one hand a big chocolate with all trans fats, and on the other hand they were having raw garlic cloves, which they were utilizing to take care of that. So that's the beauty of garlic for a situation like obesity. Now these are three simple molecules: ascorbic acid, citric acid, and beta carotene. So many plants as their sources, which I have listed here. And of course, amla is the richest source of vitamin C. And these molecules, if you have into your diet properly distributed throughout the day, then perhaps you are going to control, the obesity not being caused by the food. The most, I would say, a strange situation or weird situation is that people want to be slim while eating something. They want to eat something to be slim. They want to eat something to reduce their weight. So this is a paradigm, and therefore we have to bring into their eatables certain things which can really bring down the weight and the unhealthy cholesterol part. Now you must have also heard about comorbidities, the diabetes. And plant sourcing for anti-diabetic goes very well from our biological resources right in India, like bitter gourd or karela, or you have Gymnema sylvestris called gurmar, or you have pterocarpus, or you have trigonella, that is methi. Stevia is a replacement for the sugar when you want to taste your food as sweet, but still you don't want to have sugar in that. Or Tinospora cordifolia, it's a wonder plant. Tinospora cordifolia, it also called glow, or it is also called guduchi. Now Himalaya has produced even tablets and capsules with that. And these are the plants which really have a lot of scientific data behind them that they work. Then comes cancer. Now, today the cancer patients are suffering the maximum because of the COVID occupying all hospitals. And we have several plants that can really give you some of the molecules which are effective. Like last one which you're seeing, Taxus, gives you a diterpenoid, which is Taxol, or it is also called paclitaxel. Taxol is commercial name, paclitaxel is its scientific name, and its relative docetaxel. And these are good for ovarian and breast cancer. Atheranthus roseus, Sadabahar, you must have seen, produces two wonder molecules, vincristine, vinblastine. These are alkaloids, and they are good for, better than the typical chemotherapy that we are doing. So these are the type of resources from plants that we can have to straight away take up the medical challenges and bring in both the curative as well as preventive. But I would favor preventive healthcare, and therefore I would say we must think beyond only medicinal part of the plants, and that is also that from plants we should be looking beyond the food for hunger. So we should be looking at nutrition with hunger. What we did mistake at the time after post Green Revolution, the mistake was we separated nutrition from hunger. So we tried to satisfy the hunger. Of course, that was the need of the time at that time, but post Green Revolution, we could have taken care of this. And therefore we shifted from our traditional carbohydrate crops into wheat and rice only. But millets today again becoming craze of the day. are what we have to look when we are talking of nutrition with hunger. Plus, we can add many things from foods. Now, I would say what Dr. Panesar was talking, all those things can combine with the basic rule. He said rainbow, I would say Tiranga. Tiranga of the foods. Your food must have the shades of green, red, and white. And when that is there, that makes that rainbow which he was talking about, and we will get functional foods right in our home. Now, this what you are seeing is a Mediterranean diet, a typical example. You know, what you are seeing is a bangan, eggplant slice on which you have put the things what give it a tiranga, plus the carbohydrate, right carbohydrates, and you are going to lower your LDL levels by 35% and increase HDL by 12 to 15%. So what it means is that you are engineering now your cholesterol towards the favorable side from unfavorable side, and making yourself healthy. And that's why Mediterranean diet has become a craze of the world. So I come to functional food, and functional food, when we say, basically it is a food only. It has all edible items and has some health promoting component in that, again in form of a food only. It doesn't look like a pill or capsule or powder or supplement. It just looks like, so there could be a functional idli, it could be a functional roti, it can be functional chawal, it could be functional curry, and so on. So that's what functional food is. And this is functional because of what we call as nutraceutical value in these plants. So to understand the science behind that and also decide how to formulate a functional food, you have to go to the nutraceutical level, which could be a molecule or an extract purified from foods or food materials or medicinal plants, which really gives that value. And when you have it in a food format, you can eat it, and functional foods start giving you the healthy lifestyle. This has been a biotechnological way of making a functional food. You must be aware of Portricus and Peter Bayer, who did the research by bringing in a complete metabolic pathway into rice. And that pathway was brought from 3 organisms into rice because it possessed a precursor, geranyl pyrophosphate. Now, geranyl pyrophosphate happens in many plants, and in fact, all aromatic crops or essential oil bearing crops or spices, what we call, they do have some of the steps beyond this. And they brought these, what you are seeing in red, these 4 things as enzymes coded by the genes. And you had the rice turning into a golden color, producing beta carotene, which is a precursor of vitamin A, and therefore the retinol precursor. And that is what looked like a revolution has happened. And if that happens, then we could be making many crops straight away as the functional foods. But the problem was that to have the daily requirement of beta carotene to meet sufficient vitamin A requirement in children, you would need this in almost a kilogram capacity, which neither a children can eat, nor it can be afforded, nor our tummy is going to support it. And therefore, further research was done, hyperexpression promoters were used, and this could be enhanced. But then there are other possibilities which I come to, that there could be horticultural means to do that. And one of the things that I want to discuss with you among the plant resources is sulforaphane from broccoli. Now, this is a stimulant for enzymes that detoxify chemical carcinogens. You know, today we are exposed to so many carcinogens, the pollution problem, which before Corona was a major thing. Such molecules from plants can really help in detoxification. And I have in some of these slides also put R&D challenges or scope which we could be working on, so that the students and the faculty of even Shulini University can look at in making or creating the PhD problems. Dietary fiber, we all know dietary fiber is the baseline for anyone to be healthy. Dietary fiber actually is going to give your gut a movement that is required to be digestive efficient gut. And the R&D challenge is that how can we bring it to the level that we meet the fiber diet, that is RDI, that is the daily allowance that is required. There are sources both from cereals as well as non-cereals as well as fruits or pseudo-cereals. Omega-3 fatty acid is something which today the world is looking at, because omega-3 fatty acids are the category of long-chain fatty acids which can really control and regulate our metabolism as far as cholesterol is concerned. And DHA is the ultimate that we want to achieve, but in plants we do not get DHA, we get ALA and EPA, mostly ALA only, and that ALA has to be converted in our body into EPA and then DHA. DHA is good not only for cholesterol management but also for our brain development in the growing children. Calcium is very, very important, and I would give a thumb rule: all beans or bean-like plants will have a lot of calcium. Vitamins and minerals, they are important, and the agony is that what we throw after peeling the vegetables or fruits, or even in a juice, so when you have taken out fruit juice, what you throw is the richest source of vitamins and minerals. And therefore, the industry can look at making creatively the products out of what we otherwise are throwing from the fruit crops. Beta carotene was referred earlier also. Carrot gives carotene name itself. But most interestingly, I would point out here that in addition to carrot, you have moringa. Moringa is session. Moringa, 32 grams of the moringa leaves are equivalent to 1 kilogram of carrot in terms of the beta carotene, which is retinol coefficient efficient. And therefore, to replace GM rice, you could be putting some few leaves of moringa or session on the rice ball, and you will be making golden rice like situation with a few 100 grams itself. So therefore, we come to a new frontier, that is frontier biohorticulture. This paper I published also in a book that was in Indian Horticulture Congress held in 2010. Those who are really interested in knowing the leads which could be leading to the chemistry of horticulture and then the biotechnology of horticulture may like to read that. And if you don't get it, you can write to me. I'll send you the PDF also. Now, this is another horticultural crop where wine takers feel sort of a relaxation. Oh, it has trans-resveratrol, which is the real antioxidant, and that antioxidant is able to help. And French paradox, which is usually referred that they drink a lot of red wine and still they do not have cholesterol problem, has been linked with this molecule in metabolizing the oxidant part of our foods. Musa or banana, they are very good source of vitamin B6, vitamin C, potassium. And therefore, in our daily diet, if banana is a part, you usually tend to be a healthier gut-wise. But there is a banana in south, in Karnataka region called Iraqi, that is elaichi. It means elaichi. So it is a very small banana, which has a very thin peel. Tribals there, they have a saying that if you eat it, one banana you eat before your party, before the dawat, and one after the dawat, the first one makes a layer on your gut and second one makes a layer on your unhealthy food and it takes it away in the morning. So perhaps it works. Tomato, Dr. Panisar also talked about the lycopene, so I'll go further. Amla also we have talked about the richest source of vitamin C plus in immunity buildup, whether it is through Chyawanprash or your home made procedures. This is very good. It's a very important component of Triphala in Ayush system. Punica granatum, I'll like to stay for a second here. It's, we say, ek anar so bimar. That means that hundreds of diseases can be cured by one punica or pomegranate. Other than vitamins and other things, it has the catechins among the polyphenols, which are better than what you get in even green tea. And therefore, I would say if we start devising out the tea made out of the punica, it is going to be a very healthy drink, in fact, in the current scenario as well. Citrulus, that is watermelon, we know it because of beta carotene and lycopene, but I would like to highlight here on citrulline. Citrulline is something which can give you arginine in our body through metabolism. And arginine is what we usually face as a deficit, particularly the people who are 60 plus, when they walk or jog, they find in their calf muscles some pain, and this is because of depletion of arginine. But if you take arginine supplements, then you have nausea type of problem. But if you take citrulline easily gets converted into arginine and you don't get nausea. So a lot of preparations with the watermelon can really help in stamina boosting as well as helping the aging population in their toning up of the body. This is Annona Sharifa. That is a complete food in itself. When we want to move from a liquid diet to solid diet, now even patients would be coming out from trip and situations where they were on not even oral diet, and then they come into liquid diet, and then coming to solid diet, just take its pulp. It literally has whatever you require for the diet. So, very good starting point. In addition to that, so many medicinal uses and calories and the right kind of energy. In fact, energy bars can be made from its pulp. This is called Jamun Syzygium. Syzygium is something which fruit has so much of the antioxidant that its juice or its beverage can really enrich you with that. But in addition to that, the seed has anti-diabetic properties, and therefore you get that advantage of Jambulin, which can really be useful in controlling your sugar. And it also has very strangely been reported with lactoferrin, which is found in mammalian milk, and this plant has this seed has that. So there is perhaps a scope when we are thinking of constituting a milk for the infants. And this is called Falsa Grevia, which you must have heard a lot about it, but it is so perishable that it comes and goes. So if we can really convert these into beverage products, in addition to the Ayurvedic properties for the gunas, rasas, both sides, it also can be an energy drink. Garcinia, I talked about HCA, which literally is a very interesting, can give you very interesting beverage, which is taste-wise also good. In sambars, people put it, and we can use that for cholesterol management. So this has great scope. In fact, Thailand leads the world in terms of the products made out of Garcinia, not Garcinia indica that we have, Garcinia cambogia. Capsicum, mirchi, it has two components, capsaicin and capsanthin. Capsanthin is the pigment part, so the best edible dye that you have for foods, and capsaicin is the pungent part. And capsaicin is used for both the pain as well as fat metabolism. So to reduce the weight, for weight management, it can be used, and there are products already coming out for that. But you must have heard about many gels which contain capsaicin, which are used for pain. In fact, I would say that if we are looking for a non-narcotic pain reliever, then it is the ultimate, because you have in opium poppy the opioids which are narcotic, but here you have non-narcotic painkiller. Then comes another way of looking at our foods, that is bio-enhancement. I would call them as nutraceuticates, and in fact, 2 of my students did PhD on that. And bioenhancer basically is a drug facilitator. That means it's itself is not a drug or a molecule which is bioactive from the angle of the curative properties, but it can enhance the bioavailability or bioefficacy of another molecule, and therefore the dosage requirement for drugs will go down. Our research told for anti-TB and anti-cancer drugs, and we devised such a simple system of looking at that how it helps. So what you are seeing in donor arm is rifampicin, and in right side you are seeing rifampicin with moringa plant extract, and you can see that in receiver arm the color that has shifted from donor arm is high. Spectrophotometrically, you can measure that and see that in how much time you have movement of the active molecule. And in between the donor arm and the receiver arm, we have the gut membrane. You have a verted sac assay, but this is easier than a verted sac assay using a gut membrane in between, which is semi-permeable. And therefore, I come to Moringa, whose extract I told you has that. And what you see here on Niaziridine US patent, this was filed by us from CMAP, which is so good for rifampicin and also some of the anti-tubercular drugs and Taxol, that is anti-cancer drug. And this drumstick, if we look historically, in fact, let me share with you that this I learned to even create this PhD problem for my student from my grandmother. She used to tell that when you are sick, you are taking medicine, do take this. And when you take this, the medicine will work better. So if I interpret in terms of bioenhancer, that means it is increasing the availability of those drugs. And I would say it's a kalpavriksha in itself. It has food values, it has medicinal values, and just look at the comparison. 4 times the vitamin A of carrots, 7 times the vitamin C of oranges, and 10 times the vitamin A of carrot in dried powder. And similarly, you have 3 times the iron of spinach, and 2 times the protein of yogurt, and 3 times the vitamin E of almonds. So what a wonder plant, from leaf to its pods to its stem to its roots. Its roots are called, you must have heard another name that is called horseradish. Now, horseradish is its root only. When you sow and make a radish-like thing, and that is good for inflammation or arthritis. Coming to how the world is looking at the things in terms of nutrition and functional foods, the functional thing is biggest trend. Dairy is taking rebirth. Again, people are shifting back, although you must have heard about vegans, but I say vegans are also suffering from many deficiencies, and dairy is not avoidable. And then proteins, we all require protein. Teenagers require for growth, and bodybuilders require for muscles. You must have seen so many bodybuilders, working only on whey proteins, which is of course a wrong approach. But then if you can make good bioavailable protein products, that's going to be wonderful. Energy, weight wellness, snacking. We want to also have a good life, no? So we cannot say don't take snacks. We must take snacks, but they must be healthy. Also slow energy. While we are talking of fast energy, we are also talking of a slow energy, which is coming up as a new frontier. And particularly in situations like today's, when we are in lockdown, you need slow energy. Sugar, we had done demonization of sugar, but now again we are realizing life without sugar is not life. Permission to indulge. We also want to party. When we do party, we must be having a healthy party. And then a trend is coming free from. What is it free from? Like you must have heard, free from trans fats, free from sodium, and so on. And then seniors, our lifespan has increased. Therefore, we must have very good foods for those who are 80 plus. Many times when I am talking in any symposium or in an academy, people ask me. In fact, the people asking me are doctors of that age. They say, Suman, what do you have for us? We do not have teeth to chew the things, and we do not have that strong a digestive system. What do you have for us? And then kids nutrition, the other side of the life, the infants, and then toddlers, and so on. I come to another component. Part of this, Dr. Panesar did talk. This is gut-brain connection. I many times say that to do anything in life, you need guts. And to have guts, what do you need? A good gut. And that good gut is which basically takes care of the stresses. And under stress and non-stress condition here, you're seeing A and B. Under stress, your gut has different microflora than the microflora when you have under normal condition. And that altered bacterial microflora that you have in your gut leads to your unhealthiness. So it is not only your genome, it is the genome of these microbes that stay in your gut are important. That's what probiotics are. Probiotics is one or few of them. Now we all carry around 1.65 kilogram of microbial weight in our weight. Or if I say 165 species, okay, or if I say that, I am Suman, so Suman is composed of 100 trillion cells. But how many my own? It is only 10 trillion. 90 trillion is these microflora on and inside me. And that is why too much use of alcoholic sanitizer is going to harm our microflora on the skin. So be careful. We must avoid the situation that we need that much sanitization of our skin. And similarly, inside we also have to look that can we maintain a good population, and ultimately we are going to have good immunity. And if that is so, probiotics was talked about in the previous lecture. These are live microorganisms which give us the benefit of what we really have in total metabolism. Bifidobacterium and lactobacillus are the major categories. And then there are many others, including yeasts. But what I want to say is that only taking probiotics is not going to help you, because in the morning you take Yakult or things like that, and the next day you are going to sort of excrete it, because your body is not going to accept it. The reason is your body itself is competing with these microbes for nutrition. So you have to give something exclusive to these microbes for their nutrition, which our body doesn't need. That means we need to take something which we don't digest, but it doesn't cause indigestion to us. And that is where soluble fibers come, or oligosaccharides come. They, on one hand, help our gut movement, and on the other hand, help these probiotics to establish in our gut, and therefore create a population which is going to be healthy. And there are sources for such molecules. These are called prebiotics. So prebiotics, when taken with probiotics, it makes a composition what can be called as synbiotic. And just see again, chia has that. Methi, fenugreek seeds have that. In fact, you can realize that when you put these things into water or watery circumstances, they give something mucilaginous. That is what the soluble fiber is going to be. And that jelly thing is going to give the advantage to both probiotics as well as your gut. So your food must have a lot of prebiotics in addition to what you eat for yourself. So chia, as I said, is a very, very promising plant. And in fact, one of the industry that startup that I mentored in Bangalore, in still mentoring, has taken up this and has been able to even create products. And chia is, as I told you, rich in omega-3, very good in prebiotic fiber, and also many other advantages. Then you must have seen the movie Jab We Met. Now here I am showing you the movie Jab We Millet. Now this millet are going to be back in our diet. If we don't bring that, then we are not going to be here. And therefore, these are the smart crops that we have to bring in our functional foods, in our natural foods, in our food system. And the advantages of these are that you have a lot of minor millets. There are 8 minor millets which have their qualities. Any one of you needing such information, since I am moving fast, you can write to me on my email. I'll share the PDF of this. So this is one of the millets which I would like to discuss with you. Sama rice. Now this Sama rice is the one which in our mythology, what you see, Sudama had gone to Krishna with a pottery of grains. That was this Sama rice. And it is complete food in itself. And then pseudo cereals were talked about. 3 pseudo cereals are important: buckwheat, amaranth, and quinoa. Buckwheat I don't have to introduce in Himachal Pradesh. This is your traditional diet. And amaranth, that is called ramdana, and quinoa, which is an exotic introduced crop. And there are many advantages of those. These are pseudo cereals in the sense that what you are seeing on the left side, that cereals have an embryo and then an endosperm, right? But here it is a perisperm which engulfs the embryo. So that is a difference botanically. And amaranth is also called ramdana. It has such a wonderful protein. Many deficiencies are met, but then it also has anti-nutritional factors. While in cooking, we have to take care of that, but it is a good food for gluten allergies. Then quinoa, as I mentioned, this is again coming up as a craze of the word. It's a functional food, pseudo cereal, which has balance between oil, protein, and fat. There are many advantages with the quinoa, and it is being used now even for controlling the, as a good diet for diabetic people having a low glycemic index, and also for celiac or lactose intolerant people. Buckwheat is the one which you have as a very good resource. I know in Himachal, the diversity, the natural biodiversity of buckwheat that is existing. I think Sholini University must take up a mega project on that. It's again a source like quinoa of vitamins, micronutrients, and the protein, and again being a complete food in itself. Now, all will be well, all is well, or all will be well if understood well and applied well. That's what I want to bring you. This is another complete review, exhaustive review that we published in 2010. It was in Proceedings of National Academy of Sciences, on which I had also delivered the keynote address. And those of you who are interested in how the dynamics of secondary metabolome in plants happens, I would say path through the pathways. If you want to understand real molecular biology, biochemistry, and engineering, then you can look at this review. Using all this, then can we really make products? So that is always my hunch. And I have been, as Dr. Dinesh said, guiding industry also. And this was one of the industry which I guided, Nutrahelix in Mumbai, which was able to produce foods, functional foods in pasta and cookie format. And this was Director General of CSIR, Samir Brahmachari, and Director of CFTRI, Dr. V. Prakash, who were there when these products were launched in 2012. And this is the type of pasta which had advantages of your spinach, advantages of carrots and beetroot and so on. I also have, as I told you, like students and research, my love is also for villages or the farmers, and therefore created Flora Fauna Science Foundation, which is working to enable entrepreneurship in villages through science. And we adopt villages and then do hand holding and make villagers to do something new beyond what is called traditional agriculture. Seed to seed is traditional agriculture, that's cultivation. But agriculture goes beyond that into secondary and tertiary agriculture, where we talk of post-harvest technologies and also products out of that. And Flora Fauna keeps on going into villages, and we keep. So this was a village where we introduced chia as a crop. And then this industry or the startup which came up, NutriPlanet Foods, came up with the chia and quinoa value chain, making bars out of that as multigrain bars, which can be used as breakfast or supplement for the meals, particularly corporate world, which is always on the run, they can make use of that. And this was launched. I named it Nutri-Ma because Ma is mother. And mother can think of the right nutrition for the child, and therefore these products have to be like that. And these were launched in 2018 in IPL matches on 13th and 15th April. Of course, now I don't know whether we'll have matches like that. This is the team which I must thank. This is a CMAP team. It was 600 plus people. That means 400 plus staff, then 150 students, and then some postdoctorals, and many project implementers, and around 600 people who always have been with me when I'm talking today to you about the possibilities and opportunities. And we gave it a slogan, the team CMAP works on the green path to better health and life. And these are the teams, smaller teams I created. We created Skies India, we created Nutrahelix, we created NutriPlanet Foods, and we are continuing with that. Of course, with academia, we are doing research also. Many of such team members, they are not employees, but they are doing their PhDs and research, and also helping the industry, and this is a win-win situation for them. So I also invite the students and research scholars of Sholini University and others who are attending this symposium, that if you really want to be a force, join hands and minds with us, and we can tell you how you can be good researcher, good technologist, and good entrepreneurs. Now I come to a question. Who is big here? You see, I have drawn a scale. What you are seeing as horizontal lines is a scale. So if you see that, you are seeing cow is as big as corn or pea. And you might say, wow, my scale is wrong. No, when we talk in molecules, the lactoferrin I told you being produced in plants, the corn proteins can be bigger than the proteins produced in milk and so on. So I will try to look at these organisms at molecular level, at the level in which they produce certain molecules because of which they look like what they are looking. And if that is so, then today's situation says that all this scale on one side and corona on the other side, corona looks bigger, but it's hardly 10 to 12 kilobases. And 10 kilobases is controlling more than 1 lakh kilobases. That's what is important. How smartly your genome controls the other genome is your smartness. And therefore, we must not undermine the microbes. We must not undermine the invisible. The tiny thing can be the mightiest, and that's the learning that we have to take. And then how do we learn and how to convert these threats into opportunities in our hands? And this is a saying I will like all of you to read. Those who think they have no time for healthy eating will sooner or later have to find time for illness. So it is your choice. You want to be ill and then look for such foods, or you want to eat foods which are for health and never be ill. So that is functional foods, which can be from plants and microbes and dairy, as I just indicated. So I thank you all for being with me on this journey where I shared some of my learnings with you. And I hope that this will make a way forward for us, not only limiting to COVID-19, but anything in future to come, and also new research avenues and areas that can be opened up by all of us. My email is given at the right bottom. Anyone wants to know anything from me, you can always write to me and I'll be responding back. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Khanuja, for this enlightening and informative lecture on how plants can be used as a preventive healthcare measures, and discussing it in terms of research perspective, and also sharing your experiences with all of us. We are extremely happy to have you among us, or also joining Shulini family as a distinguished professor. So Professor Khosla has
My
also
pleasure.
joined us because earlier he has lost connection. So after this, we'll be starting with the panel discussion. So we have a lot of questions for all the speakers of the today's webinar. So we'll be also taking up a few of these questions in between this panel discussion.
Sure.
Good afternoon, everyone. So once again, I welcome all the panelists to second day of this panel discussion in International Symposium on Understanding the Corona Pandemics and its Applications. I request all the speakers, Dr. Panesar and Dr. Yogesh, to switch on their videos and also switch on their mics.
Audio.
Thank you.
Audio.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I'm there.
So in this panel, we have with us Dr. Yogesh Shukla, the Director Healthcare and Hospital Sweden, and Dr. P.S. Panesar, Professor and Dean, Slight Longowal, and Dr. S.P.S. Khanuja, former Director, CSIR CMAP Lucknow, and Professor P.K. Khosla, Vice Chancellor, Shulini University, and also we have with us Professor Anuradha Swarirajan, Dean, Faculty of Applied Sciences and Biotechnology, Shulini University, and Professor Saurabh Kulshreshtha, Dean R&D, Shulini University, Solan. So I welcome you all in this session. Before this panel discussion, I again wanted to share with all the participants that we had three invited talks where Dr. Yogesh Shukla, he spoke about COVID-19 in medical scenario, and Dr. Panesar, he talked on various types of immunity booster foods, and then Dr. S.P.S. Khanuja, he spoke about how plants can be used as preventive healthcare measures. So all the lectures were highly informative and enlightening. Now we will start with the panel discussion on how to live a healthy life with strong immunity. My question to all the panelists is, can we reduce the pre and post COVID infection risk by using functional food and plant nutraceutical? So first of all, I would like to ask Dr. Shukla, are there any specific clinical reports on improvement in health risks of patients with changed food habits? What are your
Till
views
now,
on
see, lot of foods are being proclaimed for as a superfood or a food with nutritive value, but as such, for a healthy life, from a clinician's point of view, from a doctor's point of view, what you have immunity, the immunity of a body which is needed to fight against bacteria, infection. It is your native inherent immunity which you are by view of your genetics. Genetics play important role. Secondly, important role plays is your day-to-day life and your exercise. This so what you eat and how you process it by way of exercise. So immunity is not built in a day. That's what my point is. Like as a doctor, I can tell you if you eat this and your immunity is strong, there is nothing like that. So that is one thing. As far as sticking to current topic, like for COVID, unfortunately, I cannot recommend you to eat something and which will help you to. All I can see is that people all over the world they say vitamin C and all this thing. We can all the vitamins have role, but my point is you eat plenty of fruits and vegetables, which natural fruits and vegetables, which eminent panelist a lot of choices has been given by Dr. Suman and Dr. Pansera. So we can choose whatever fruits we like and do your daily exercise and yoga. And that is my only choice. Otherwise, you don't need to eat anything more than that. You need to live a good, healthy life, do exercise, eat well. That's all.
Thank you, Dr. Ashok. Now, next question is to Dr. Panesar. Dr. Panesar, what are your views to use foods as immunity booster items? Are there any foods harmful for immunity during this COVID-19 or?
Yeah, as far as the foods are concerned, I mean, rightly said by Dr. Jagdish, that is, we cannot say we can do wonders within a day or so, but I think my personal opinion is that is your food should be rich in antioxidants. That is, if we are eating the food which rich in antioxidants, then naturally we can avoid many problems because free radical damages which can be done by in your body, that can be, I mean, just we can have away from that. So other is that is we should not take the what we call junk foods basically. That is the we even the laymen say that is junk foods are not much very much useful. But sidewise, sometimes we say that is we are not we will not be affected by junk foods or we will not be affected by the fried foods. That is not the case because naturally the your body has to work and your body has to divert its energy towards that. So that energy is diversified. If we target our energy to the positive side, then definitely it will be helpful to your immunity.
Thank you, Dr. Panesar. Now, my question is to Dr. Khanuja. You were heading one of the premier CSIR lab for aromatic and medicinal plant. So what are your views based on the research studies carried out at CMAP on novel phytochemical leads? So were you able to generate some of the novel leads which were showing the antiviral properties during this period, or are there any novel leads related to this antiviral activities?
Well, when we talk of plants and their metabolites, the thing that we came across which really works as very effective at molecular level as antiviral is from Tinospora cordifolia, that is called Glow or Goduchi. But then there are derivatization from other molecules also which can help you to call something as a very stable or very broad spectrum antiviral won't be the right way to look at it. The best way to look at it is that what is this virus you're talking about? Let me tell you, as higher plants and animals, we have one mode of reproduction and replication of our genome, the DNA. But the viruses have 7 modes of replication. They have genomes which are DNA, the genomes which are RNA, single-stranded DNA, single-stranded RNA, double-stranded RNA, and therefore they follow the route where they go for RNA-dependent DNA polymerase, single-stranded RNA-dependent RNA polymerase, RNA to RNA replication, that is called replicase, and so on. So whichever molecules which are going to be inhibitory for the disruption of their life cycle for perpetuation is one important thing, and second is their protein coat, which in very general terms you have been talking about the sanitizers, but there could be specific proteins which could be inhibited to interact with human body, and therefore they could be even aromatic things that can come into picture.
Thank you, sir. So
That's
we
from
have with
SHG.
us our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor P.K. Khosla. We lost you in between, sir. So I have one general question to you, sir. You are practicing this meditation and pranayama for a long time. Can these techniques be used for improving the immunity? Would you like to say something on this, sir?
My answer is yes. Firstly, to close up, I must thank Dr. Khanuja for the very exhaustive and illustrated lecture he gave on different aspects of food, medicine, preventive measures. I think this opens a scope for the students, especially who are in the food sciences or food technology, to become the entrepreneurs. We are in the Himalayan region, and there are a large number of the plants which are growing here. And the question is, can these be made as the starting points or for the startups of different products? You see, with the coming of the COVID-19, the jobs in the open market will go down, and the students have to use or think of alternative measures. And obviously, entrepreneurship is, he also taught, Dr. Khanuja also talked about entrepreneurship, seems to be the way. And also, when he was making presentation, I was thinking, can he make a chart very specific for the different ages of people, the food, for immunity, for health, for nutrition, all those things. So all the 3 lectures were very interesting. So I had to go because someone has come to see me in between. But still, I had seen the salient features of all the 3 lectures. Now coming to your question, you see, the immunity, in my opinion, is linked with happiness, the peace, stability of mind, less of anxiety, and always to remain within yourself. All these things are the outcome of meditation. If somebody asks me, why are you doing it? Or why have you been continuing to do it? I started this journey way back in 1992. I read a book, Autobiography of a Yogi. The chapter was, I just opened it book. This book was given to my son for standing first in the college. Apparently, I didn't appreciate the student, our child, to get this type of a book in the prize. But when I read one chapter, where Dr. Swami Vivekananda was in Chicago, and he was moving in the road, a boy was telling to his mother, "Mother, this is the monk who saved my life." Then they met Swamiji, and he said, I told him, you should be aware of what your guru is born in India, one day come to US and give you a silver cup. And Yogananda goes to Boston and he becomes a student, and one day in 1936 gives me a silver cup. This is a wonderful science. What is this? Where is Vivekananda? He is in US Yogananda is born the same year. That boy is an American. He tells him that he makes a prophecy. I must go for it. That was my inquisitiveness for this science. But in the process, I forgot all these things. But I found that happiness is more important. And there is no value of happiness. What you feel after eating or satisfying with a good food, something pleasant feelings. Happiness is much beyond that. Peace is much beyond that. And I don't know if anybody has measured these, but these can be measured. One of our scientists, Dr. Adesh, one day we were holding a seminar for on yoga. There were people who are of 60 also. I just posed him a question. Should there be any metabolic changes in our body? Why don't you take the blood of the people who are above 60 and tell us something about our improvement, our changes in the metabolic activities and the enzyme patterns or whatever you call it, or antioxidants. So he took it and also the control. But ultimately what he found, that people who are following Kriya Yoga, it's a technique where yogi can, a sannyasi can arrest his lungs and heart and still goes on taking oxygen. More oxygen is available to the body, and lungs have no role to play for carbon dioxide or heart for purification. And obviously the whole oxygen is revitalizing the cell. And this is what he found, that every person has a anti-cancerous capabilities to face. The cells fight with it. And it goes on decreasing with age. But when he saw our studies, the Kriya Yogi analysis, he found that our case for cancerous cells are fighting is the same way, is just equivalent to the boys or the persons of 20 to 25 years of age. So more studies are required, I will say so. And I hope in future people will try to correlate these things, the meditation, the food, the immunity, all these things. Like in the morning, I talk about myself that I am 80 years old. I'm still the Vice Chancellor. And if my colleagues, I'm not saying with for pride, it's just a reference here that I work as the way as Dinesh is doing. And the university has its own goal. And I'm seriously pursuing it. So I always say, the age is only a count. It is a thought. Thought is also energy. So all these come. These are I would say, the outcome of the meditation. When you are concentrating, you go within, energy flows. But somebody has to make these studies in a systematic manner. But that studies are not available in India. Whereas the Indian should do it. But these things have come up now in the United States. ऐसा होगा कल को वो अंग्रेज हमें आके पढ़ाएंगे कि मेडिटेशन से ये होता है, क्योंकि हमारे लोग तो काम करना नहीं चाहते, वो सोचते ही नहीं है कि यार हमारी एक साइंस है जो सदियों से चलती आ रही थी, आज उसको राइट प्लेस इट हैज गॉट. वी हैव द इंटरनेशनल योगा डे. People are now more conscious. It was also a prediction that by the end of the 20th century and in the 21st century beginning, the science of meditation will come up to the householders. I find nobody told me when I was a boy, it was all rituals. That my mother used to ask me, ye kar lo, wo kar lo, kar lo. But nobody taught. But now everybody is talking here and there about the yoga and meditation for health, for vitality. Even beyond that, from consciousness to subconsciousness to super consciousness to cosmic consciousness, then time, space, and energy. There is no difference because we are energy. We are not the body. It appears to be a frozen thought of the God into energy. It can be split into energy. Our yogis have shown that the energy can be broken. These atoms, you can move with the speed of the light, go to a place and come back and restore it. But the science has not so far done it. So I think, and I endorse it, that yoga, meditation, actually yoga and meditation are entirely two things. Yoga is only has a place for I would say, yam and niyam. Patanjali said yam and niyam. That is, you should have some principles, good life, and you keep your body fit. so that you can sit also, because without healthy body, you cannot enter into meditation. So meditation is a science where you are, the science based on pranayama, the breathing. And that is a refined and advanced type of breathing, which is taking place in the meditational science. These are my views. And of course, the younger, I am talking on my experience. I am happy. I am peaceful. And I always pray to God, give me strength that I should be like you. This is the strength of the meditation yoga. No other rituals can give you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. So as a lot of nutraceutical fruits and medicinal plants, they are grown in and are available in wild across the country, or specifically the north western Himalaya. But there is no proper policy for purchase, processing of these nutraceutical rich products. If there are, yes, sir.
Can I interrupt you?
Yes, sir.
Can I interrupt you? I personally feel, why should in the Himalayas we grow rice, wheat, and maize? We should grow only high value cash crops, the type of the thing Dr. Khanuja has told us. And this cultivation can only be in the terraced and in a group, cluster form, because we have the small holding. If you are growing little bit of the, say, any medical, even if you're doing cultivating osimum, tulsi, आपके 2-4 पौधे लगाने से तो कुछ नहीं होगा until unless you have enough material for the industry to process it. So you have to build the whole processing, this herbal, medicinal, and aromatic plants and aspect is to be taken into account. We are the gold mine. The only thing is we are not yet started. We are only thing, but we are copying Punjab, Haryana. We are growing wheat, maize. This is what we only do in tidbits. As long as we do not combine it with the processing, this industry cannot go on. आप कहते हैं जी पौधे लगाओ, there is a movement that पौधे medicinal plants कहते हैं, oh, this way if you are growing it, it is entirely a different thought process. It has to be in volume. Only then the industry can function. And nobody is thinking, and so far nobody has come up. I have been in science now for over, you can say 55 years. I have been listening about medicinal and aromatic plant. It's a cultivation. But I find the shortcoming is we have not so far in the institutions or otherwise by the industry combined the two. Cultivation, I've seen in China. Chinese are doing it. I saw there in the Fedra being cultivated. Miles together. And then every 5 kilometers, there was a processing unit which was converting the dried leaves into the powder. And then that was taken to the bigger towns and then to the Beijing, where it was being processed and marketing the world. We have to follow this type of strategies suiting with our own local conditions. But key point is processing and cultivation should be together. Otherwise, we will only talking and doing research in our labs, the benefits of its value that will not go to the people who are living in the, everybody, every villager in the hills is leaving its lands. वो हमें कहते हैं जी डॉक्टर साहब हमारी लैंड लीज पे ले लो, जितनी मर्जी ले लो. Nobody wants to stay. They would like to work for 7,000, 8,000, 10,000 rupees on the university on delegate worker. They don't want to stand in the land because there is no scheme. The lands are not productive. And then the monkeys in the Himalayas. अरे भाई medicinal plant लगाओगे कोई बंदर नहीं आएगा. For youngsters like Dinesh, they have to start thinking as a school of this food processing technology, this cultivation, the type of the lecture. I think Dr. Khanuja, you have talked from my side, Dr. I offer all three of you, which are the distinguished professors of the university. And not only this, you should formulate small courses which we can introduce as minor electives for all biological subjects like biotechnology, microbiology,
Sure,
botany, zoology,
I will
environment.
share with you some models like, we could
But
do
there
with
is
Artemisia,
strong need, Dr.
biovillages.
You have talked about from
I'm-
nutrition to hunger to nutrition. It is wonderful. You have stolen the show.
That's what I
You have to
said.
change.
Yes. Unless and until we talk of secondary agriculture, that's what you are mentioning as post-harvest part. And then even tertiary agriculture, where industry is ready to take that intermediate form into the finished products. We will be just growing and harvesting seeds only. So you are very right that that is the approach that will have to be followed. And I'm going to be now with Shulini to really implement that.
Sure. Thank you very much. We are looking forward to join hands with you.
Most
Guide us, help us, because that will be the help of the nation.
sure,
Because
sure.
this is a commitment from an 80 years old person. He wants to do something new.
But you meditate, therefore you are younger than us.
I don't know. अंदर का तो कुछ नहीं पता, बाहर से तो मैं ठीक हूँ.
वही जरूरी है.
Okay, I started at the age of 52. I always think, had I started at 22, I would have given a guarantee that my inside is also, I can talk about my inside. Just as Mahatma Gandhi said, I will not die soon. But he was shot because his age was limited.
Yes.
Otherwise, he has full control
Yes.
over his system.
Right.
Thank you, Dr.
Okay,
Khosla and
great.
Dr. Kanuja. Now my specific question is to Dr. Kanuja. You're a member of various advisory and task forces of national government agencies, and recently you have also been nominated as expert in Global Executive Advisory Board of Expert Nutraceutical Advocacy Council to advise and guide on strategy for nutraceutical sector growth. So what are your views to boost this sector in country as or what are your suggestions to bridge the gap between farmers and industries to promote this sector?
See, as I said, we have to now not do agriculture, which is cultivation only. We have to think in terms of what we can really bring in as cash crop, and we can always import the food crops. You know, I saw a model in Israel where they were exporting sunflower seeds and they were importing sunflower seeds. Now, you know, one would say this is a dilemma. Why they export and then import? What they were exporting was the sunflower seed, which is good for popping quality, which America wants to have. And they were importing the sunflower seed, which was good for oil. And they had that oil requirement. So oil wala sunflower, that was 1/10 the cost of popping wala sunflower. So we have to always bring in economics that a farmer has to earn not only livelihood, but have to earn life out of that. And that is where nutraceutical crops become very important, because today the whole world is looking at such produces which can be utilized to create health products. And that's what our approach would be, that as far as wheat and rice is concerned, it is not a concern, not a big concern. But when we are talking of easily growable, less water requiring crops like millets. You know, 1 kilogram of rice requires 4,000 liters of water, and 1 kilogram of chicken also requires that. But 1 kilogram of bajra requires hardly less than 1,000 liters. So that is where we will have to look at that. Can we shift to the crops which are otherwise nutraceutically or nutritionally more important and more price fetching and less input cost? So that is the direction in which we are thinking.
Thank you, sir. I have another question to Dr. P.K. Khosla. So you have also been biotech advisor to state government and were involved in food technology park of HP. One of the focus of this park was also to harness the nutraceutical and medicinal potential of plants of Himachal Pradesh. So would you like to add something to this, sir?
Yes, this is way back 2001 to 2004 when I was advisor. So we had submitted a proposal to the government Department of Biotechnology for the biotechnology park. Our theme was very simple. I've already explained it, that grow, cultivate. Dr. Kanuja is also supporting me, endorsing me, that this is the time now, not only cultivation and processing and the business and trading plan should go hand in hand. So this project was on these lines, that we will produce a nursery plants of all the herbs and give them to the farmers and ask them to cultivate, produce from them, then put the processing units at the site, and then the final processing units with the trader or the technologist, and then marketing and other things around. So the project was approved. By the time 2004, I thought of entering into private education. I left that job, and I am very sorry to say, even after 16 years, they have not started the sub-biotechnology park. We were forerunners with Uttar Pradesh and Andhra, but you go and visit the biotechnology park. They are wonderful. At that stage, I thought, let me come out of the commercial part, commercial component. Let me produce the human resource. I am producing Shulini University today human resource, but the government has not been able to do it. And with politics, first it gave the location, whether it should be in Solan, it should be in Palampur, and then to Nalagarh, all those things issues, and no secretary, because this was not an important department. And more than that, they did not appoint any advisor. The people who were working the project, they were mid-level scientists. They didn't have access. During my time, being a former vice chancellor, I had direct access to the CM. I could talk to him. I could talk to the secretaries. But in the absence of that type of authority, I think the things do not move in this country. And this is the case. I'm writing a book on my life story. I'm writing on this. I'm really very sad and pained whenever I lie. If I had stayed there for another year, I tell you, the park would have started. But it was destined. I was to set up the university after 7, 8 years, but the park was not established. I would say things are predestined and everything is settled before. We are only filling the gaps. Thank you.
Thank
I
you,
think
sir.
now
They can
you
still
don't
start.
need to
This is
wait.
never too late. I also believe they can still
To wait,
start.
you can create that in Shulini itself.
Yes, I can write on your advice. If you sometime come, discuss, we can go and meet the CM. Grant is there already.
I created
sanctioned.
as a
Yes.
single individual. I
It
created.
sometimes
what we call as
comes to me,
distributor.
Dr. Sahib, it comes to my mind also. Why shouldn't it go and ask the government? Okay, what
Yes.
is this? We are
Yeah.
ready to do it. And
Yeah.
we can join hands with you.
Sure, we will do it.
Okay, thank you.
Definitely, sir. We would like to have you in Shulini very soon. Now, my question is to Dr. Yogesh Shukla. As a
Yes, please
clinical
go on.
health expert, what is your opinion on can we completely use plant and food nutraceutical as an alternative to allopathic drugs? How effective they are against these viral infections?
Again, my response will be same as eminent doctors and panelists have spoken to me about. See, once you come to a doctor like me, I'm a surgeon basically. I operate on heart. Okay, so once with something acute illness, okay, you say you are dying. That time, what roles pharmaceuticals and nutraceuticals they have long-term role. It's not your health, it is your state of health. Whatever this is not since now, it is happening since millennia. Like you have milk fortified with vitamins, you have crops fortified vitamins for children growth. So there are a lot of market which are fortified with and nutritions to give a better response to child growth and everything. So this have been happening since long. As in India, so that is a chronic thing. But for acute illness, unfortunately, at this moment, I will say no. There is no role of plant, maybe in future. But again, in what role? In acute settings, we need something active pharmaceutical ingredients, whatever these plants. There are many medicines which are derived from plant source or whatever it is. So that active pharmaceutical ingredients has to be concentrated and can be, but that is the future. But in current scenario, I won't say anything I can recommend to people who are generally watching this to eat something or consume something which will help them to tide over the crisis for viralness. I will not suggest that. No.
Okay, there is one question from the participant.
Yeah.
Are smokers more at the risk of COVID infection as compared to the non-smokers?
Again, this is an ongoing epidemic which is going on. There is no scientific clinical study which has correlated this fact. In general, smokers are susceptible for any infection. So, more than that, what I would suggest is if you're a smoker and you get a COVID infection and you're put on a ventilator, you have less chance of coming out from the ventilator. So, as a doctor, I can say that. So,
Okay,
smoking is bad. So, quit smoking.
thank you. One last question for you by the participant. You spoke about artificial intelligence use in Sweden.
Yeah.
So how this artificial intelligence can be effective in monitoring patient in country like India, where we have such a big population?
You will be surprised. Artificial intelligence will be more useful in a country like India rather than in Sweden. In a place like Sweden, the people are less, and the infrastructure is very well made. The number of doctors per population is very high in a country like Sweden rather than India. So in a country like India, suppose if what is the problem today? Suppose you have any illness. Suppose you need to get an appendix removed. For an example, you need to get an appendix removed. You are having a pain in abdomen. So if you have a device where you just put in your symptoms, and device which is a computer program which has all the symptoms and doctor diagnosis fed into it. So by going interpreting your symptoms, it will come with some logical solutions. You may have this diagnosis, you need this test with that. Okay, and once it can suggest you to the nearest best possible doctors available in your area. Reading your it is possible. The science is advanced so much. I can sit here in Sweden and I can operate on a patient in India. That is robotic surgery. So science has progressed already this much. So robotic surgery is our dream. So telemedicine is now a normal thing. We consult patients in Africa by sitting right in our own offices. So there are limitations. We cannot treat acute patients. That is one limitation. But artificial intelligence has a very big role. Like I gave you an example of a chest X-ray, for example. As a doctor, whoever the radiologist is, in his lifetime, he will see 10,000 X-rays. So he has a knowledge of 10,000 X-ray films. But once an artificial intelligence is made, the number of X-rays right from the inception of the machine X-ray right up till the current state, all the X-ray images and its interpretations will be stored in that machine. So the database is far too much. So the artificial intelligence is coming up in a very big way in a department of pathology, especially, and in radiology, where we can store the whole database and which will help in further improvement in diagnosis and giving a better quality of care to the patient. You cannot remove the human element. Human has to be there to interpret it. But what I'm talking about is a better quality in terms of diagnosis and treatment. We can have a much better way.
Thank you, Dr. Shukla, for sharing your views. Now, my next question is to Dr. Panesar. You are also the Vice President of AFSTI. So, what were the initiatives taken by the AFSTI in this direction, or specifically to promote the nutraceutical sector? Were there any specific initiatives which were taken by AFSTI in this direction?
Dr. Panesh, regarding the AFSTI, naturally it is a professional association, and that is sometimes recommendations we send to the government sector, that is to the Ministry of Food Processing Industries, MFPI, and that action what they take, it is their prerogative. And the preview of the AFST, that is sometimes they hold the conferences, sometimes they also hold some of the workshops, and according to the workshops all the recommendations are there. But as far as if we say specifically to nutraceuticals, we have not sent any recommendation because the organization is taking care of all type of different food materials. So mainly nutraceuticals specifically, because I was involved with the associated with this AFST for 1 year last year. during last year, there was no such activity where we were focusing on only on the nutraceuticals.
Thank you, Dr. Panessa. So
If
we have with us
I
also.
would like to add something, Dr. Dinesh, if you allow me.
Okay, you can.
Yeah, just as you said, artificial intelligence. So, like being an M hospital part, I would like to share you this news. We have already conducted 6-phase trial of a mobile app, and my dream is because I have studied my MCH, I finished my super specialty training in India. I know what all troubles and complications and people face in India every day, to-day life in field of medicine to get a simple treatment done. Also, the lack of trust, a lot of issues are there. So what 6-phase clinical trial is done for our app. We'll be hopefully launching in next few months an app, mobile-based app, by which just by sitting at your home, you will be able to see doctors, consult them with your reports, and get their opinion, get their feedback, and at the same time, you could enlist whatever, like local hospital, where is the best place to get an X-ray done, where is the best place to get the treatment done, where is the best place. It will be acting like a guiding standard. And hopefully, if my dream comes true, it will be great. I would be able to do something for a country that will be very nice of it. So this is just I would like to add on.
Thank
Yes,
you.
sorry
Thank you for sharing your views. Now we have with us also Dr. Saurabh and Dr. Anuradha. So if they want to share something or want to ask any question, how biotechnology and other allied sciences, they can play important role in this sector. Dr. Saurabh, if you want to share something.
So I have a question for Dr. Shukla.
Yes.
So because biotechnology, a huge field of medicine has a role in biotech and vice versa. So your talk was great, sir. And as we also had some session yesterday, we talked about where we can have a merger of biotechnology and AI technology. So my question in specific to you is that what is the status of M hospitals in India? Because if you see the mobile technology, you go up to Leh, Ladakh, down to the Kanyakumari. Everywhere we have the internet connection nowadays, which is very effective. So the same way, can this AI technology be taken up to the village level? So then they have no problem with getting a doctor, going to see an expert, and I don't know how would be the economic aspect of this. Like in India, you know how the medical services,
Yes.
you go to private doctor, the surgery is about say 50 lakhs, and you go to government, it is 1/10 of the cost, right? So a lot of economic aspects which actually deprive the right medicine to the public in India. So what is
Yes.
your take on basically hospitals for India?
Thank you for your question. Exactly, my point was same. The idea of coming up with the M hospital was to tackle this very problem. Like I have worked in government hospitals in India, so I know how the things work there. And like as you said, we wanted to use this very connectivity which an Indians have. Like mobile is now widely spread across the India. Mobile internet connections are good. So at least what we want to assure is, by the way of M hospital, is like each and every Indian, before going to getting that treatment, and whether that treatment or whatever is recommended to him, is it acceptable as per the international guidelines? That is whole idea is. So the one difficult part where we want to tackle is like in medicine, you have to give actual treatment to the patient. Advising is one part, but you should actually also receive the treatment. That is one challenging aspect. So for that, what we have thought, the M hospital will be making partnership with all the district level hospitals, government, private, and the patient will be well informed about where he can in his area get the best treatment there. So so far where we have reached, we have already conducted for more than you can say 600 patients. The trial was conducted, fourth stage of the trial, which was very successful for cardiac patients, and we are in progress. Maybe in few months we'll be having a complete finished product, and we'll be launching it soon in India.
Will it bring down the cost also?
See the cost,
total medication.
The medication cost, you will be surprised. Like there are many factors. Like for buying a simple tablet, if you go to the market, so the cost, there are a lot of factors are there. The tablet may actually be cost 1 rupees to the pharmaceutical company, but when a person buys it from the pharmacy store, the same is cost maybe 50 rupees, 60 rupees per tablet. So, that is different thing. Controlling the cost is not in our hand, but at least after paying that cost, suppose a poor person, maybe suppose if you want to get a simple operation like for an hernia, if you want to get operated for hernia, the cost of that operation in a city like Bombay, I know very well. So that in a government hospital is just 500 rupees. And the same operation, if you get in a very big specialty hospital in Bombay, it may be in lakhs. So, but the operation is same basically. So you can give a patient a choice where to go, where to find, and according to his pocket, at least getting him the right choice in a very simple and dignified way will help him a lot. And now what happens, like a lot of poor people, they die even without being seen and diagnosed. The biggest problem with government hospitals in our country is they are overburdened. The infrastructure is not there. So a lot of people, poor people, they don't get what they deserve to be. Like I quoted some clinical scenario today. There were ventilators in government hospitals. You will be surprised. Every year there are crores and crores of rupees being spent in government hospitals, and still the ventilator doesn't work. So we have a lot of
Very
challenges
basic,
in our the money and corruption, lot of things, issues are there. But the whole point is there is not such a simple solution to everything. As in by way of artificial intelligence and mobile app, we can at least make people sure that the trust. Nowadays we can see there's a deficit between the patient and the doctor, trust deficit. You are not sure to which doctor to go. You feel, oh, this doctor will overcharge me. That deficit and that trust is lacking today in today's society. We try to bridge that trust deficit by way of MHospital. Hopefully, we'll be able to do that.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thanks.
And one more, I will
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm
request
done, Dr.
Shalini University. You are doing a tremendous amount of research in biotechnology. My only request is, like as a surgeon, I can tell you the nutraceutical part is very big thing, but there are a lot of other things, like there are surgical instruments. Like for example, I can show you valves, heart valves, which are needed by the patient. So there are big Western companies only who make valve. There are no Indian companies making those valves. There are a lot of instruments, a lot of things which are just made by foreign companies. There is no substitute Indian companies which make them. So a lot of policymakers are on the eminent policymakers are there in this panelist. So they can think in this regard, like what China is doing. It is just reverse engineering the foreign products and making it by local manufacturers. So that is also a very big thing, and it has a lot of scope. That is my request to all the eminent panelists.
Yeah, so PM Modi has come up with the Atmanirbhar, right? So I think that's what it goes for. Becoming self-reliant.
Hopefully,
so yeah, we can go for these technologies also. Yeah. That's a nice idea. Sir.
Just to share,
thank you.
Just to share with Dr. Shukla. So we are starting BTech Biomedical Engineering from this year onwards.
Okay.
So just to enter into this field. Yeah, now I request Dr. Saurabh if you want to say something.
Hello, good evening. For very nice and informative talks. Lot of good and new informations there. So my question is for Dr. Khanuja. So you talked about Moringa, and I am also working on Moringa. So we are developing water purification kits using Moringa seeds, and we are also working on a part of it, nutrition, and also develop some wound healing formulations which are very effective from Moringa. As my question to you is, it is nutritionally very rich, and there are several other plants of a similar type which are nutritionally exceptionally rich, and if they are to be suggested to a population who cannot afford the complete meal or complete nutritive diet, so how easy it is to convince the people, because that's what I feel is the most difficult part. So everything is available. A lot of nutrition is available in plants, apart from the regular food that we have. So how you think how easy it is to convince the people to shift to some of these nutraceutically rich plants in their diets so that some of the problems of malnourishment and mineral deficiency can be sorted out?
See, there is no activity viable unless and until it has economics. And economics comes from the industry. And therefore, the best approach to popularize any new crops or new introductions is that we should first identify the industry who will be buying back at particular quality at particular price. And this model has been successful when we created bio-villages. And one of the category of bio-villages that we created was Artemisia annua, where artemisinin is produced and it is exported to 42 countries as arti-ether, artemether mixture for anti-malarial drug. And we had Cadila, and we also had IPCA, and we also had Themis Healthcare, 3 industries who were ready to take the raw material from farmers. So as Dr. Khosla was also mentioning, unless and until we will bring market into the farm, it is not going to happen. One. Second, the herb of or the produce of the farmer has to be converted into something which is non-perishable. What is produced as a plant yielding leaves or things like that is perishable, and therefore farmer goes into stress and he does the distress selling and doesn't get the good price. So like I showed you just now one example that we created a chia village. That industry is in Bangalore, and they are buying back from Telangana, Karnataka and Uttar Pradesh the chia grown at a prefixed price in terms of the seeds. And also we make industry responsible that they will give the seeds to the farmers so that tomorrow they don't say you did not pick up the right variety or anything. So initially we help as technologists. Like, it's a tripartite thing. I am a technologist. I will tell this is the variety, and why this is the variety, this is the quality. And then they will provide those seeds to the farmers, and farmers will grow, and then they will buy it without talking about the chemistry to the farmer. Chemistry, they have to talk to the technologist. So it's a tripartite relationship which can create bio-villages. And we found that it was a success case even in Uttarakhand. We created geranium bio-villages, which was for perfumery industry, and geranium grows very well. Even in Himachal, it grows so well. So similarly, the plants that you are talking about, we could make a strategy. And since now I am there with your university, we can work it out such that, it's a long-term plan, and we bring in industry that these are our specialty niche that we can grow. For example, I was talking about buckwheat. There cannot be a buckwheat produced better than Himachal, right? So those type of crops, which are niche crops for the region, we can bring industry into that. And that's the idea of a biotech park, which Dr. Khosla was mentioning. And I'm saying, let it be a virtual park. Don't create physical parks. And that park or incubator can be right in Shulini University. As individuals, I created innocubator. I did not call it incubator. I created innocubator. That is where I will also bring in innovation part. So the students or the researchers will join, the industry would join, the farmer would join, and academics would be the baseline for that. So that is the way we can do. And the good quality, as you were mentioning about moringa uses, is that this is as much a tree as an annual crop, because you can grow it by cutting and harvest leaves and go for beta carotene or vitamin A industry and so on. So that is the approach that we will have to follow. Create a value chain. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. So now, as we are short of time, we are coming to the end of this webinar. So in the end, I would like to again invite Dr. Khosla for the concluding remarks, if you want to say something.
In one line, I say, growing, cultivation, and processing should go hand in hand. As Dr. Khanuja has said, everything it is to be planned in such a manner. Farmers should not be worried to where to sell his produce. That should be the part given to the industry, and there should be a tie-up, free tie-up, and then processing and then marketing. All those things are to be done in a systematic manner for increasing the income of the farmer and the type of the dream the Prime Minister of India has to double the income of the farmer. Thank you. Wish you all the best, everybody, the students, the experts, and also the faculty of the Schindler University.
Thank you, sir. There are a lot of questions which we have received in the chat box and the question and answer box, so which we'll be downloading, and we'll try to send these questions to the panelists so that if they want to answer, they can answer these questions. And it is not possible to take all the questions in this webinar. So in the end, once again, I would like to thank all the panelists and the speakers, especially Dr. Shukla, Dr. Panesar, and Dr. Khanuja for sparing their valuable time to be a part of this webinar. And besides this, I would like to thank our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor P.K. Khosla, and Pro Vice Chancellor for being driving force to organize this event. And then we are also thankful to our Dean for full support in this event. And thanks are due to the Dr. Professor Saurabh Kulshrestha, Dean R&D, for being instrumental in this webinar, or to organize this webinar in short period of time. And I would also like to thank our reporters for today's webinar, Dr. Sonali Khanduja and Dr. Vikas, who will be noting down all the discussions which were done during this webinar, and will be bringing this in the printout form once the webinar is over. And then overall, I would like to thank all the participants, teachers, scientists, students from all over the country. And besides this, we have some of the participants from abroad also. And this webinar was attended by more than 250 participants today during the peak time. And once again, thank you everyone for being part of this webinar and making this webinar a success. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
We have a third day tomorrow. All of you are welcome for the third day seminar. So we have a series of 4 lectures tomorrow again. So participate with the same enthusiasm, and we'll be ending this session tomorrow. So again. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.